The video game Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has consumed my soul. It is a very, very good game. Not only is it visually stunning, but the story, the progression, the gameplay, it's a very, very good video game. I'm not going to be able to move on until I make something from it. And today, we're making Gustav's backpack. Not any backpack, we're making the crimson one. I haven't managed to get my hands on the game assets yet, so I have to do screenshots. Put it up on screen, take some pictures. I got a bunch of pictures. So I'm going to draw out full scale what I think it looks like. Now there's a couple of problems here. Because what works in a video game doesn't work in real. Just like with Clone, I have to have side seams. With this, we're going to have to make a couple of compromises. And since we are drawing from reference, mine might not be 100% accurate. Because I know other people have made parts of this costume. Like it's a standard role-playing game, so you get to change costumes in it. So I'm going to draw this up. I may even make a full-scale mock-up out of cardboard, just so I get the dimensions and get a really good feel for what we're doing. But you don't need to see me struggle with the drawing, so we'll be back in a second. This is what I came up with. I brought it up on the TV, zoomed because there's a photo mode, so I zoomed in until his dimensions were about the same as mine, and then I kind of just traced it. And I liked it enough that I made one out of foam. Check this thing out. This is pretty neat, right? It's got the flap. It's got the straps because there's a bedroll up on top. The back straps do this weird scallop thing, right? That's kind of neat. Lots of weird detail, and almost everything has silver trim. I thought it was made out of canvas, and the more I look at it, the more I think it's leather. And I have this gorgeous red pull-up leather that is just gonna be perfect for this. I mean, I've been trying to figure out what I want to do with it, and I think this is the perfect solution. But first thing I'm gonna do, since I taped everything together instead of gluing it, everything should come apart, and that'll give me all of the pieces. But there's top stitching on the reference, or on the model, which I really like, and it's going to make everything so much easier. So I'm going to take all that apart, lay it all out, and see what I can get. I made a test flap. Let's see if we can focus on that at all. Right? It's got the silver trim around it. That is just some silver fabric with cording in the middle, kind of like how we did with the Battlestar Galactica stuff. I do not have enough leather because I ordered a small strip. It's a 12 by 24, but I don't have enough to do the back in black. So we're going to do that in red because you don't see it anyway, which gives me enough of everything. I kind of like this. This is okay. I'm probably going to have to glue the fabric down first and then stitch it so everything's nice and neat looking. And I'm going to do the silver trim because, let me explain. Take a piece of cording and you wrap the trim around it, right? There we go. And then you stitch right next to this cord, and that creates this nice little edge piece. The problem is it's on everything, and it's like 3 different sizes. And again, what you do in a video game or CG, like with the Clone, with the side seams, I have to have side seams because you have to get the costume on. And the way they have the silver accents on this backpack can't exist in reality and not actually be usable. This cording trick is probably the best I'll be able to get with it. But I'll need a bunch of it. So I'm going to lay everything out, cut everything out. And with like our pieces, it's going to be a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. So I have stuff to stitch to. Except for the edges, because it's only it is what it is. Let me lay everything out and then we'll get back to this. So that's all the pieces cut out. I have them broken up into sections. We have the straps, we have the sides, we have the front flap, and then the main body. And everything has this weird silver trim around it. And I did a test piece. Where's my test piece? Right here. And it turned out okay. This is just a quick proof of concept. I think it'll work much better if I actually care about what I'm doing. But to do that, I need to make a bunch of cording. I'm just going to use paracord for this, for some of it, and then I'm going to use twine for others. Because it looks like there's a couple of different thicknesses. And in the game, they're just painted on, but, you know, I can't quite do that in real life. So to do is I wrap a piece of fabric and then do a stitch right along the edge, and that becomes my cording. So I have plenty to stitch to. Oh, I go way more in depth on how to do this in the Battlestar Galactica jacket. That one, we go over cording just super in depth. And if you're curious on how this works, that's the best way to find out. So this is where things get interesting. I ordered some permanent adhesive tape from Tandy. It's about 1/2 inch. It's 3/8, close enough. Because lining all of this up with the cording would be super difficult. This is double-sided tape. I can put down a bead. So I can put down the first bead, because this is the top. And this is going to get folded over this way. Peel the backing off. Because this right here is my seam allowance. It's exactly where I want the edge to be, right? Put my cording down exactly where I want it. Line up the second piece. Put it down and tape it in place. And then take it over to the cowboy and stitch it. And that gives us this. Which is not exactly what I'm going for, but it's not bad. This black leather is much thicker than the red. So it wants to fold the way I don't want it to fold. So I need to push it flat and then hit it with a hammer. Got a mallet for it. Luckily this all gets top stitching. It looks like everything was done in red thread, which makes my life much easier. I know the video game looks like it has red thread. Whoever did the design, the costuming for this video game did a spectacular job. So I'm going to go put a top stitch on this and see how that looks. I don't think I'm going to do 2 different size cords. That's just going to complicate my life, and I don't think it's even noticeable. So at this point, I just rinse and repeat. Make sure everything lines up properly. When I made the mock-up, I cut all of the tape so I could line it back up and see which pieces go where. By the way, that has saved me countless times so far on this already. Because this thing is asymmetric and it's got a weird angle to it. I got a bunch of cording. Cut it to length. Double-sided tape. Stitch the top together. And just repeat it for the next 2 pieces. That should be the whole top flap. Not counting the very top piece, which just goes on top. We'll get to that in a minute. With fabric something like this, I don't even know if you can see that. Let's see if we can get you to zoom. So the stitching is on the wrong side. I'm blind stitching while I'm doing this, so I'm just hoping that all my measurements are right. So what I did was I just put another layer of stitch right next to where I'm at. In fabric, it's not a big deal because, you know, it's woven. This isn't woven, so there may be holes on this side. Like I said, I'm doing all this blind because I can't see where anything is through the fabric or through the leather, which is why I'm using the tape to line everything up. But these things happen. Once I fold it over and put top stitching on the other side, hopefully it won't be noticed. We'll find out. I could use a seam ripper to do that, by the way. But seam rippers cut the threads as it goes through. Normally, if you're using fabric, it's not that big of a deal because you're using similar colored thread. I'm using contrasting thread. It'd be super noticeable having a bunch of these little... It's a pain, but, you know, it's still the right way to do it. because this goes this way at a weird angle, right? Top flap just goes straight across all the top. Simple even stitch. I'm not using glue for this one, but I have a bunch of clips. I'm going to clip the whole thing, cut all the excess so it's nice and smooth, and then stitch it. Oh my goodness, I am exceptionally happy with that. So now I want it lined, because I could just put the trim around the edge, because it goes all the way around the edge, and then just fold it over and have the raw on the back. Or I grabbed some relatively, well, thick in air quotes, right? Some decent canvas that'll make a fantastic lining. Luckily the canvas does not have a right or wrong side, so I can literally just lay this on top, trace it, cut it out, put the tape all the way around, then the cording, then more tape, and then lining. Because it's leather doesn't mean we really do anything different. So I'm going to snip all the corners and then flip it right side out. This is just so everything lays comfortably. Now let's see if we just wasted the whole day. This is the exact reason we're not doing the straps the way we are, because trying to turn a leather no, right side out, nope. Heck, I'm having a hard time with this, and this is a big open pouch. There we go. That exactly what I wanted. The corners are rounded a little bit. They're not as crisp as they are in the game, but again, this isn't a game. There's no way I can get that level of detail out of actual fabric. I'm sure it can be done, but I'm sure I can't do it. All right. We top stitch all this to lock everything in place and look at where we're at. I'm exceptionally happy with how all of this is turning out. Put the buckle on next. There's a bedroll on top, and it gets attached with these buckles. These were the best I could find at Tandy. They aren't perfect, but they're pretty good. They're a little more intricate and detailed than I wanted. I'd preferred smooth, but all things considered, I don't think they're going to stand out as the weird part of the costume. I have a large oval punch and to punch a hole farther down than I normally would, but it's got to be large enough since these buckles are kind of have two ends. It has to be large enough to fit inside the machine and still be stitched. Since you can do what I did on the other side, I can't sew through the metal part. And the foot on my, the cowboy is flat, so I can't just put it around. So it has to be far enough past this ridge to put a stitch in, which is what I'm about to do right now. This project has taken me forever, by the way. I have two straps. They're very nice looking. I don't have holes in them yet, but they fit in the buckles perfect. These buckles are a little smaller than the buckles for the just about everything else. There's 5 buckles altogether, 2 up here, 1 on the side, and then these 2 that hold the flap closed. But they go here on the belt at kind of an angle, so I can't put these on until the back is fully set up so I can line everything just right. So we're onto the sides of the bag. Like I said, this project has taken me forever. It's the second time we've gotten to this point, by the way. You didn't see the first because I wasn't happy with the first. But we continue. So the backpack has these two weird angled pieces, right? I cut these out exactly at 1/2 inch, just all the way around, which made a huge point. This isn't needed because most of this is going to get cut off anyway. These two pieces go together with a little bit of silver in between, right? Just like everything else, this has a little bit of silver cording. So everywhere that points, you got a point here, a point, and a point here. I want to cut a 90-degree from the main piece, which gives me just one flap that is a full length. And then we're going to do the same thing on this line and then this full line, which means I'm cutting all of these little triangles out. And then with these points cut out and the same points cut out on this one, I can sew these two pieces together, right sides to right sides. So when I flip it right side out, we have the cording in the middle. And speaking of cording, I need a piece of cording that runs the length of this piece, right? So I'm going to give myself like a couple inches in both directions and cut. And this stuff isn't perfectly stitched in place. It's pretty easy to pull. So what I want to do is just pull this until, because I want nothing in this point. That way when I sew this together, I only have the flap to mess with. Same on this side. So I'm going to cut the cording right here and then slide it back down, which is not going to be fun. Actually, it wasn't that bad. I just had a piece of string onto it so I could pull it through the other way. And I have a piece of cord that's trapped inside. Like everything else, we're going to put down 2 beads of tape, one on the red side, one on the black side, put everything together and sew it. So now putting all this together is going to seem really weird. This does not look like the right angle, but since it's such a sharp angle, once we sew everything together, it should be flat. That looks perfect. So once I stitch the back on, this is going to die on the inside. We're not going to see it. It's going to look kind of like that, which I'm very happy with. I do it on the other one, and then there's this little red one that kind of gets connected in between all of it. Pulling up reference constantly. And that gives us this, which is neat. Hopefully it's the right size. I could have made a mock-up, but I don't think a mock-up would have done me any good because leather and fabric function completely different. The back has no cording, so we're saving it for last. We're going to do the front. And the front has silver all the way around the whole thing. Around the entire, not along the front here, but all along these edges. It's a lot of cording. It's part I've been looking forward to the least. It is what it is. And we'll lay everything out, get ready to sew, and we'll go over everything then. I have all of the cording put on, cut at each corner so it turns neatly. When I did this one, I did everything all together, and I'm not overtly happy with how everything laid. My stitches were a little off because I'm doing it blind, right? So I'm going to take this over to the machine, and I'm going to stitch a line right here, just through these two, so I have somewhere to see where I'm stitching from in the back. That way when I put these two pieces together, I have an exact line to follow. And again, since we're using leather, I don't want to stitch directly over this line twice. So I stitched an exact amount along this edge that there's an exact gap. So when I flip the thing over, I now have a line that shows me exactly where I need to stitch. I think we're going to put tape on this one, on this side, and then put the side to the tape. I know we've been doing it the other way lately, but I think this time, first thing I'm going to do is stop and clean everything off. I've got way too much going on here. I'm going to lay the tape on this side and then line the piece up with that first. So that gets us this, right? I'm pretty happy with that. Everything lines up okay, but there'd be no way for me to know where this cording is on this side. So I know exactly how much I need to move over from here to hit exactly where I want to be. And as soon as this piece is fully in place and top stitched, entertainingly, here. So I don't know if you can see any of this, but there's a definitive top stitch on the inside, which means everything gets folded and I sew my top stitching onto here. Now I just do top stitch, and then we can put the buckles on and have everything lined up and at least mocked up to where it needs to be. I am remarkably happy with that. That turned out absolutely perfect. Everything does exactly what I wanted it to. Got the flaps. So now we take the lid, we take the front flap. And it goes, I'm going to need something to stiffen that up a bit. That's just about every bit of perfect. And line everything up exactly where I need it to be. Put these in place. These get sewn onto the front. And then I have loops that get sewn onto the buckle. I'm trying to decide if I'm worried about top stitching or not on this. It probably should be. It would make everything lay so much easier. Alright. Everywhere it's got a weird corner gets clipped. I top stitch everything in place. Which on this black stuff is not an easy task. Progress. I have the straps. They're just taped on. I have to stitch a little square here and a little square there. But I'm very happy with this. That makes the back, or the front, the top, the side that sticks out, almost done. I have all of the cording cut. All the leather's ready to go. I just need to make a bunch of straps. And then we get to put the back on. But for the straps, a couple of weird things, right? He's got these weird little scalloped loops that get cording on one side and on the other. But since they fold over each other, and there's a buckle that goes in between, I'm only doing them one-sided. Because there's no point in doing two sides on that. So I'm just going to put down some tape, the cording, and then stitch. That should be super easy. We're almost ready to put the back on. Everything has been cut out and top stitched so far. I've got the two straps that go for the top of the bedroll. I've got the two straps that connect the shoulders. On these, I only did one layer because there's no reason to fold this and this because the black is super durable. The red one I folded and top stitched. But now we're on to attaching the back. Nice thing about the back is there is no cording around it. So I could just flip the backpack right side out, or inside out, I'm sorry, and then just sew the 1/4 inch all the way around. Backpack is all sewn together, except it needs a lining. So basically I need to cut two of these, a strip that's like, I think it's 35 inches by 3 inches, and then just sew it all together. And then we're going to attach it all along this top. I don't necessarily have to do this part, by the way. I could just bind the top and be done with it. But I think the lining makes it look more like an actual product. More like a thing that would be in the real world. And I'm very glad to be using fabric instead of leather. Something I can actually just chalk up and cut out. Not that there's anything wrong with the leather I've been using. It's great. It looks beautiful. It's just a little difficult to work with. At least with the tools I have. I'm sure there are specifically designed leather marking pens and whatnot. Man, I'm just a dude in a garage. Guy with a dream. Speaking of which, random non sequitur here. I don't know what I'm doing. Everything I do is completely off the cuff, right? I've just been doing it for so long, it looks like I know what I'm doing. So if you had a different way of doing this, that doesn't make your way wrong or my way wrong. It just makes them different. And a lot of people will tell you you can't do a thing. And that's not true. What they're saying when they say you can't do something, that's actually saying they can't do it. And they think they're better than you. And if they can't do it, then surely you can't do it. And don't let anybody tell you that they're better than you are. I'm going to cut this out now. And then we're going to sew it together. back flap has an exceptional amount of leather at this one point, or these 2 points, right? It's got 3 layers of the black and 2 layers of the red, because everything just comes together right here. So rather than trying to sew it all together, I'm going to do probably a 1/4 inch, sew right along both of the tops, just so I hold it in place. That way when I sew everything together, I don't have to worry about anything shifting weird on me. And that, right there, exact reason I got the sewing machine in the first place. Went through it like a champ. So this goes on the inside against the back. I have it right side to right side. I'm going to stitch along the top. These flaps, I'm not sewing. And then this along the right side. It may not make a lot of sense, but will in a minute. Oh, real quick. It's a little complicated, so I'm probably going to sew this first. But this is the back. All the buckles are in the front. This is the back. I'm putting this with the side that I want exposed down. That way when I fold everything over, it folds open like that. So this is going on first. I'm going to stitch this top just to make sure everything lays right. I ended up sewing the whole back closed and splitting the front since I'm doing top stitching on the front but not on the back. Now you just have to turn everything right side out, which is easier said than done. I'm going to do some top stitching and the backpack is done. Make it out of leather. It'll look nice. It'll be fun. Easy to deal with. But I never said it'd be easy to deal with. There we go. It's not terrible. I made the top a little too long so the ends stick out a little bit weird. So the ends stick out a little bit, but it's going to be a bedroll over that, so I'm not terribly worried. I wish I had done it a little nicer, of course. All right, let me fold everything over, top stitch, and then I guess it's onto the reveal. Is that how y'all say it now? So there it is. It's not 100%. I'm pretty happy with it. It looks good. I like it. So the straps are missing, right? I'm not doing the straps this time. We're going to do the straps next time. Well, maybe not next time, but we're going to do the straps soon. I need a break from this. This has taken me a month. It shouldn't have, but it has. It passes the 5-foot test. It even passes the 3-foot test. Any closer, you know, then we'd be talking about stitching. And for having never made this backpack before, making it out of leather, I'm very happy with it. It looks good. I'm going to have to figure out what I want to do about the bedroll. The bedroll may just be a piece of foam with stuff glued to it. Because it kind of looks, it doesn't really look like a bedroll. Kind of looks like a play mat. You know, like Gustav was about to go play some cards. Entertaining things. In the reference, the buckles are flipped. Buckles don't work that way, so I had to put them the right way. You'd be surprised at how often that happens. But I am exceptionally happy with that. Thanks for making it to the end. I appreciate it. I normally do a longer, flowery outro. If you're new here, I make props and costumes. And if you like what you saw, maybe think about clicking that like button. Want to see where we're going next? I'll see you next time.